You're listening to The Alex Jones Show.
Big Brother, mainstream media, government cover-ups. You want answers? Well, so does he. He's Alex Jones on the GCN Radio Network. And now, live from Austin, Texas, Alex Jones.
And I'm Alex Jones, your host. Wolfgang Halbig is our guest. We're talking about false flags. We're talking about Sandy Hook and all the harassment that goes on trying to keep people from investigating. He's now filed a lawsuit. Thanks to your support out there. Keep it up at sandyhookjustice.com, because truth does not run from being investigated. Eric in Connecticut, you're on the air. Thanks for holding. Go ahead.
Hey, how you doing? First of all, on our license plates out here in Connecticut, it says Constitution State.
Yes.
That couldn't be the furthest thing from the truth. There hasn't been any elected county government here since the 90s. No sheriff. They dissolved it all. Okay? So it does. It makes it impossible for anyone of the people to investigate this.
Well, that's right. Connecticut is where it all started. Now more than 20 states have done it partially to get rid of sheriffs being elected and, quote, combine them into the city. Well, now you have the city that comes from the state and the county, the tail wagging the dog, and then the feds can take it over. And
one more thing, with my own personal investigation with this, is you find out who Robbie Parker works for, and you start really going down the rabbit hole. Robbie Parker was a solicitor for the CHIP program.
And tell us what the CHIPS program was.
The CHIP program is you register your kids into a database.
The DNA, yeah, the Masons pushed that.
Right, and in order to prevent the where kids will go missing and you can find them. It's just like a registered database for your kids, so that they're all in a sort of like how they have the Amber Alert. It's related to that.
No, I'm aware of it. And in the schools, they have little blue boxes where you get the DNA out of the cheek and thumbprints and fingerprints and all the rest of it. Thank you so much. Let's get Wolfgang Halbig's take on what you just said.
Well, I go back, Connecticut, corruption. As a former Florida state trooper, I looked at Connecticut State Police. Do you know the NYPD had to come into Connecticut to investigate the entire Connecticut's police department and make recommendations? They had to disband the Connecticut State Police internal investigators because they were so corrupt. And look where we are today. We're simply trying to ask such simple questions, and they can't even answer them. And these are school board policies. And I'm begging you, all of your listeners, go to Newtown Public Schools, click on the school board policies, and let me tell you what, let's use their policies, their rules and regulations to answer these questions. You know what? They're in a box and they can't get out, and we've got them.
Well, it's got to really freak the false flaggers out that people are on their tail. Let's talk to Rick in West Virginia. You're on the air. Go ahead.
Alex, it's an honor to talk to you. My question for Mr. Halbig is, I had heard him say that there had not been one lawsuit filed by the parents of these supposed children against the school board officials, but yet about 2 months ago I saw where a group of the parents were suing the gun manufacturer.
That's right.
And I would like to say, isn't that just further proof that this was a gun control inspired?
That's right. They have an open, I mean, you've got all these kids killed, all these kids in danger. Guaranteed parents or family are going to end up suing. When it's open and shut, they're going to get a settlement. But they're not doing that. They're going after Bushmaster instead. Yeah, exactly. I mean, that's the cherry on top. In fact, stay there, Rick. Stay there, Wolfgang. I'm going to come back to Rick, let him finish his statement, get Wolfgang's take on this for a few more minutes. Then I'm going to get into a bunch of false flags that governments admit, then other news in your phone calls. We're going to come back to Rick, Dave, Sean, Jim, and Sarah in the next segment. Let those callers finish up on the Sandy Hook investigation, get some final comments from Wolfgang Halbig. But, Rick, you just brought up the key point. Years have gone by, and they're suing gun manufacturers, not the school that didn't call the helicopters. Drugs Body warns U.S. states and Uruguay over cannabis legalization. The global government says you can't legalize marijuana. Well, I don't like what marijuana being abused does with potheads. Makes them live in their mother's basements and turn into gnomes, eating Hot Pockets and playing World of Warcraft and Second Life. But if you expand on that to its logical conclusion, when you allow the drugs to be illegal, it allows big government corporations to ship them in and control them in a black market. So the answer is decriminalization. I'm going to be going over that. Wolfgang Halbig, a top school safety advisor, one of the top guys in the country, questioning Sandy Hook. When we even have debates on here now between people that think it's all true and don't, folks try to censor those. I mean, this is very un-American what's going on, very dangerous. We've been investigating it. But Rick raised the point that several years have gone by since the show, the event, that was the tragic trauma-based mind control that was Sandy Hook, any way you look at it. And now, finally, the families are looking at some local suits, but they haven't gotten into that yet. They're suing Bushmaster. They'll never win that suit. Not even with tear-jerking, pulling the strings, the heartstrings on a stupid jury. But they would win on the helicopters not being called, on the ambulances standing down. There would have been huge settlements. But they don't want that. They don't want to sue the government. They don't want to sue the school. That is another giant red flag that Rick in West Virginia brought up. We're going to get Wolfgang Halbig's response to that in a moment. But anything else you want to add, Rick? Because you're a pretty smart cookie. I appreciate you bringing that up.
Well, I'd just like to ask, too, is what can we do to bring the truth out about this whenever the officials keep destroying all the evidence?
Wolfgang?
I mean, yeah.
My answer is this, and I've been saying this now for 2 years, ever since I got involved. The only way that we are ever going to get the truth is by these subpoenas, is getting these people to raise their right hand, and you got to find the weakest link. There are people out there, they better get ready, because their depositions are going to be taken. And I'm going to tell you, they're going to be video depositions, and this is how we're going to get the truth. They were never expecting us to come along to do this. They thought we were just going to go away. It has to be done through depositions, and they're going to have to hire attorneys.
And of course, you said you were going to drop this till they sent the state police to your house to basically threaten you for the feds. I mean, repeat that statement.
Well, yeah, until they sent 2 homicide investigators to my house, I was quiet as a mouse. You and I would have never met. But when they come into my home a week before Christmas with my grandkids, and they threaten and intimidate me, telling me I'm going to be arrested and I'm going to go to jail, and then 2 weeks later, deputy sheriffs in uniform come to my house, they said the Newtown police chief the police chief wants to know if I own handguns, and if I ever come to Newtown, I need to check in at the police station. And then I get a phone call from the Southbury Police Department, a sergeant, to tell me never, ever to call the Southbury Porta Potty Company again. Let me tell you, I'm tired of that. I'm an American. I'm a naturalized citizen. I have a right to ask questions. They're not offensive, and they're not rude.
Well, even if they were offensive, you have a right. The First Amendment's sacrosanct. They're trying to overturn it right now.
Well, I've learned to be polite and courteous. You know, when you're a school administrator, you deal with thousands and thousands.
No, I agree it's good to be polite. I'm just saying the First Amendment has an even higher standard of protection.
I agree. And, you know, that's what they're doing. They're attacking our First Amendment, Second Amendment. And here's the thing, Alex, what people don't see that's coming. Connecticut right now is passing laws that any parent who homeschools their child is going to have a complete mental health examination. Now think about what we're doing to parents and children. They got to have a complete mental health examination. Why?
Well, it's a fishing expedition, and it's a way to demonize homeschoolers. And it's worse than that. Statistically, homeschoolers get the most scholarships, have the best grades, the lowest crime rate.
Absolutely.
And so it's becoming so popular, they're trying to shut it down right now.
Yeah, and Alex, I wish your producer had that clip on the chase in the woods. I think that's how I'd like to end it with you, if you allow me.
Sure, we could play the clip where they supposedly catch the guy in camo in the woods and then say it never happened.
Right, your info warriors need to see this, and they need to spread this message loud and clear. They need to see this clip. They're chasing a man in the woods at 12:23 p.m. on December 14th, 2020. Now think about it. Why are you chasing them after lunch? Nobody can explain that. This is actually footage from a live helicopter, and I think the reporter had no clue what he was seeing. Take a look right there. They're running. They're chasing each other at 12:23. They're running by a storage shed that's already broken open by the Connecticut State Police. It's 12:23.